So here we have with us today Dee Hall, owner and CEO of Applause Your Paws. Dee, would you like to introduce yourself to us?
Sure. My name is Dee Hoult. I own Applause Your Paws dog training in Miami, Florida. And I am an Austin, Texas native, but I moved to the Miami area in 2001 to attend college here, and I never left.
Perfect. And can you tell us a little bit about the company?
Sure. So Applause Your Paws, I started in 2006, right when I was in the middle of pursuing a master's degree at the University of Miami. And I started my company because I saw a gap in the market for a privately owned positive reinforcement dog training company. And it was something that I knew I could take advantage of. So I kind of built my company around what I was learning in school at the time in my MBA. And here we are, 14 years later.
Awesome. So here's a question for you. How did you first start to market your company without a marketing team behind it?
That is a great question. It's actually something that I get asked a lot. I feel like I just gave the answers to these questions in passing to someone else 48 hours ago. But in 2005, when I finished my undergraduate degree at University of Miami, is when Facebook was just sort of invented. And there weren't very many people yet on Facebook aside from college students. You know, you had to have a college originated email address to be able to be on Facebook at the time. So really I was just kind of telling like my friends, who were my legit friends, about the company that I was building. But as Facebook continued to grow and more people were able to get onto Facebook, more and more people were seeing what really was just me telling my story. And so without even really that being the plan, because Facebook as a means of marketing one's company wasn't even a thing until like 10 years later than that, when Facebook Business was created. I was already producing what we would now refer to as like that native, authentic storytelling content on Facebook.
Perfect. So the next question would have to be, how has social media changed marketing in your industry?
So when I first started my company, I think the biggest challenge is figuring out how you're going to be able to market yourself when you don't have any money. And I think now that social media is such a big player, it allows the little guys who don't have any money to be able to get the most for what resources they do have and capture a pretty wide audience. So I would say the competition now for people just entering, let's say any industry, but my industry in particular, dog training industry, you could be a nobody with no certifications, no experience, and make yourself look like you're the most incredible dog trainer on the planet. So I definitely think the ability to market oneself through Facebook based on the platform that's available now to businesses on social media has just made it so incredibly easy for people. I definitely didn't have it that easy, and so it's a blessing, and people that don't realize that, they never knew otherwise.
Right. So in regards to social media, have you seen if there's any opportunities or threats that have arisen because of social media?
Threats, definitely, yes. I mean, a lot of opportunity because of social media, but I immediately go in my mind to like the threats that exist to businesses as a result of social media, and specifically that people who you don't even know can engage with your business. And that's something that would have never happened prior to social media being a marketing tool. So, you know, maybe this isn't true for every single industry, but at least in our industry, which is the pet industry, you know, dealing with dogs and live animals, we kind of run, you know, concentrically to the animal welfare community, which can have some extremists. And so you're always going to get you know, people that don't belong on your business page, and that sort of stuff, and that can be very, very dangerous. So it's something that, at least in my industry, people have to be aware of, because you unfortunately have to be very careful about the type of content you put up, because it is accessible to everybody, and that's a plus. It's also a huge minus.
Right. So also in regards to digital marketing, what do you think would be the biggest reason why some companies fail when they first start up?
So you're saying that they first start up now, like in today's digital age?
In today's digital age, and they try to go in the route of social media to market their company.
And they fail. I think they could fail for a couple of reasons, and I do see other, you know, dog training businesses locally not succeeding on social media. I think first and foremost, they're not producing high enough quality content. And you know, maybe when social media marketing was just a thing, you could get away with low quality, you know, poor, you know, content. Your pictures didn't have to look that good. They could be bouncy, kind of dark, whatever. And that kind of stuff just doesn't fly anymore. And so it's not appropriate if you're going to do social media marketing well, to think that you can do, like a half-assed job doing it. You're either going to do it right now, because it's like, it in my mind, it's kind of replaced TV advertisement to a certain extent, so it's got to be like a high production quality thing. So you're either going to do it right or don't do it all, because if you're doing a bad job at it and producing low quality content, you will shoot yourself in the foot very quick, because compared to everybody else, like me, who's producing high quality content, it's not going to make you look good. So I definitely think that is a place where people go wrong, and they never maybe find the balance between how much they should post versus how few they should post. And so I think that can really hurt them too, when they're either so obnoxious because it's too much content, or so few content that their audience gets frustrated and bored and moves on.
Right. So we noticed that your website is obviously number one when you search dog training in Miami. Can you tell us a little bit how you got that?
Sure.
Like that?
So when I first purchased my domain back in like 2010, I want to say, I was fortunate enough to hire a website designer that did SEO, that was very good at his job. And so I did have the opportunity to get a lot of coaching from that person about exactly how to get our website coded so that all the keywords were being picked up. And again, when my business came into the pet space in Miami, there was nothing else like it. And so I really was able to take advantage of kind of being the first player in the private sector to really do what I did. And so I was not only able to purchase all of the domains that now are so coveted, because I own them all and no one else can own them. I was the first to get to them, so I have them, they're mine. But that website developer and SEO professional also coached me a lot through what I would need to do as far as putting content on my site to make sure that it would organically stay in the #1 spot on Google. And so it's something that I've been doing now for, almost a decade, and that's why my website continues to stay, the top click when you Google, dog trainer Miami. And again, not as a paid slot, it's the organic #1 spot, and that's because of the amount of content and the type of content and how specific we are about putting keywords into our content.
So would you say that with more companies being up and coming in this industry, is marketing becoming harder, or is it not affecting it?
I mean, to be honest, I think it's kind of a hard question to answer, because I don't think marketing is becoming harder, but I definitely think marketing is becoming more necessary because the industry is just becoming so saturated with so many dog training professionals. So if you're really going to make a good living for yourself and be competitive, you're gonna have to market yourself and be prepared to do that quite aggressively. And that really comes back down to the individual and what their own personal goals are for their, income. But I'm sure there's some dog trainers that are happy with what they make every year, and maybe that means they never are gonna spend a dime on Facebook or put up a post or whatever, and that's fine. More power to them. But I think if you want to be a major player in any space that you're in, despite, regardless of what industry you're in, you're gonna have to be prepared to play.
So how often do you think you need to post and update and all the fun stuff to websites, Facebook, Instagram weekly to maintain a high?
I think you have to be doing something daily. So between all of everything, YouTube, your website, and hopefully you own multiple websites and multiple domains. I think Applause Your Paws owns somewhere upwards of like 20 plus domains. So YouTube, whether that's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, what am I missing? I don't know. Facebook Live, you have to hit it all. I don't think if you're going to be good at, digital marketing, you can do just one. You have to do them all constantly.
So when you started to hire your team, once you took a step back and, let everybody else do it for you, what was the #1 trait that you wanted to find in these people?
So originally I thought that I just needed someone who was really good at social media. And I tried that and it didn't work, because what it was missing was that really authentic, native, feeling the way that only a fellow dog lover, right? And not even just a dog lover, but for me, because I am a dog trainer and I have a dog training company, it has to be someone who appreciates the value of dog training and what that actually means for a dog. So whether or not that person was a professional dog trainer, it didn't matter. That person had to understand why training is important and what the value of training was. So the first person, aside from my website guy, the first person that I hired to be part of my marketing team was Beyond South Beach Media. That's who we use for all of our digital marketing, paid ads, and that kind of stuff. And I had that company basically does runs all my ads, and then they had a person on their team that would be doing my actual content development, social media posts. And even though she did a good job, it just didn't feel right to me. It just didn't feel as authentic as I wanted it to be, and it's because she doesn't have a well-trained dog. She didn't have a well-trained dog. She's not a dog person. She's a social media person, but she's not a dog person. And so those posts just didn't feel right to me. So that was about 3 years ago. So then I ended up replacing that person, which again, that's at a company that I pay monthly for their services. I dropped that portion of my service with their company, and I hired someone to be in-house who was a dog trainer who I observed just loved social media. Her own content for her own dogs was great. She did have a little bit of background in digital marketing, working for another company, and so that is really what proved to me that it didn't have to be me. It had nothing to do with it being me doing the content. It just needed to be someone who felt like me, passionate about dogs, passionate about dog training, and could convey that. So it worked extremely well. She was able to continue to grow our audience organically over the 2-something years that she was here working for us in that role. So my in-house full-time, content creator for our social media then was working with so it really worked out nice to have someone who was on my team as a dog lover, dog enthusiast, creating our content for us in-house. And that's when I realized it's just not, for my company, it's just not something I can outsource. I have to have someone who's here, who gets to know our clients, who gets to know our dogs, who gets to know our trainers. And then when that person left, I was able to hire a new individual who could do the same thing. And again, that person's not a professional dog trainer. It's just someone who, again, has a well-trained dog themselves. They know, what the value is of training, how long realistically something like that takes, how hard it is, how hard it isn't. And so I think when your in-house content creator can truly understand it is what you do and sees the value in that, they're going to be able to express that to your audience. So I think that's really the secret to having good content creation.
So how would you say social media in general has brought over clients to you? In a general idea, how many clients do you think that come from social media?
So I've definitely seen that because we post content daily, as long as we're posting the right type of content, it would be normal to get at least 2 or 3 leads a day as a result of social media. And those leads, I believe, come in because that prospective customer sees a piece of content that speaks to them about the issue that they're having with their dog. So when we're very careful about the message that we create, even though we're just trying to highlight how much fun the dogs are having here, it does attract the people who are having those same problems with their dogs. So I think we've gotten pretty good to where we get at least 2 or 3 leads a day from social media. And again, that's just organically, not from any of the paid ads that we run.
So would you have any recommendations to anybody who is starting a small company, it doesn't have to be in your industry, of how they can go about, digital marketing and just marketing in general?
So my advice to anyone who's just first starting out is although social media marketing and digital marketing is huge and has to be a part of the recipe, you also can't underestimate just good old word of mouth networking. And I think that's something that, again, this is maybe back to your other question about what the downfalls have been of social media. I think people forget that they still need to be face-to-face with their community as well, and it's not just about digital marketing. So I think people just starting out, in addition to doing their content online, they need to actively be out in their community as well, face-to-face, meeting people, talking to people, helping people, building trust, building goodwill. And I think if I had, even with how affordable and accessible social media marketing is today, if I couldn't have both, and I had to choose just one, I would still choose the old school way. And I do honestly believe that that is just as powerful, if not more powerful sometimes, than anyone's amazing social media marketing campaign.
All right, well, thank you so much for having us today, and we look forward to hearing more about your interview later on.
Thank you.